Say something about Giannis real quick, adding his jump shot. Maybe a hot take. I don't know. I think if he adds a jump, like a real 3-point shot where he's like a true threat from there, I think we might be talking about a player that's going to have the highest peak of any player in NBA history in terms of skill, more than Jordan. I'm not going to say he's the greatest of all time. He doesn't have the accolades. But in terms of skill and peak, like what can you do to stop him? He's going to get you defensively. If he can knock down like a 3-point shot, he could shoot down a mid-range. He's starting to make his free throws. He's dominant on the inside. What is the flaw in his game if he adds that? He's even not a bad passer. He has the ability if he needs to kick it out to somebody.
Is there a path in which Steph Curry can get to the top 5 greatest of all time?
In my opinion, Domantas Sabonis kind of overrated.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. We are alive. We are well. And this was the perfect week to come back. I'm Devin Withers alongside Isaiah Hansen and Gary Sunnyberger. This is D from 3. This is the 30th episode. Gentlemen, how are we feeling tonight?
Fantastic. I'm feeling great. I know Isaiah's feeling great. We're dusting off the rust. We're getting back here.
Yeah.
We missed a good bit, but we're not gonna miss it tonight. We're here. We're here for you. We're here with a bunch of stuff, talking LeBron, talking trades, talking All-Star. Isaiah, are you ready to show me again why I'm the better All-Star draft person than you?
I mean, I'm just waiting for you to show me the first time. That's what I'm waiting for.
Oh, okay.
Look,
I don't have to draft Wiggins this time.
This is true.
True. Yeah, you know what? But you might have to draft Kyrie, and he might not play for you. He's gonna, he's gonna take time off. He's not gonna.
With the amount of players missing this year, I'll be okay.
Listen, This is a big deal. I rented MSG. I rented the street in Manhattan. Gary, because this is number 30. He rented, or is that Oracle?
That is Oracle. You're correct.
He's got Oracle in the background for number 30 for Curry, and then we have Devin there. Upset.
There's absolutely nothing behind me because the Lakers are completely irrelevant for the time being in terms of a team, but individual success, I guess, is a good thing when it comes to LeBron.
Behind him is the Lakers trade plans. This
pretty
offseason.
much.
Hey.
What you can't see is a big sign up here that says D'Angelo Russell, apparently. Yeah.
And then right under it, it's a question mark. Why?
Yeah. So, listen, guys, we've got a full schedule ahead of us. We're obviously going to be talking about LeBron James's historic night. We're going to be talking about the Kyrie Irving trade to the Dallas Mavericks. We're going to be talking some other NBA trade deadline and rumors, reports, everything in between. And then we're going to wrap up the show with our annual second ever NBA All-Star draft.
Ooh.
Last year was infamous where nobody wanted Andrew Wiggins. This year, it's a star-studded lineup. I mean, we talked about Kyrie Irving, but man, it's tough to pick and choose, who sort of the rut of the litter would be in this case. So I'm excited to see what these guys have planned. I'm excited to see what their strategy is going into this. But let's circle back around. It all starts with Los Angeles Lakers lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder, but LeBron James passes Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's scoring record of 38,387 career points. He needed just 36 points going into the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He ended up getting 38 points in 3 quarters. And I think a lot of people were expecting the Los Angeles Lakers early in the game. They sort of fell out of the run, but then they climbed themselves right back into it. LeBron James finishes the game 13 of 20 from the field, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 steals. Lakers can't get it done. But, gentlemen, this is a historic night for LeBron James. I'll start off with Isaiah. The whole entire controversy now is, does LeBron James solidify himself as the greatest NBA player of all time? Because this was, for a lot of people, not for me, but for a lot of people, this was the last check mark. And as crazy as that sounds, what do you think?
Look, I almost hate that this was like the initial, like the first reaction was GOAT conversation, because LeBron James deserves a ton of praise right now for what he has done over 20 years. Listen, when he came into the league in 2003, I was 7 years old. I was a child picking my nose. I didn't I'm 26 now. Like, he literally dominated my entire childhood into my adulthood and has not slowed down, hasn't cheated the game, never got into trouble. You don't hear him in the news for bad things. He may say some things that a certain majority of people don't like, but as far as him staying out of trouble, he's just the perfect like player off the court. Like, if I had a kid, would I want my kid to be more like LeBron James or Michael Jordan? I'd probably pick LeBron. But he's not the GOAT. He's not Michael Jordan. Like, that's just, we're not there yet. We're not there, and I don't think we're gonna get there. I'm sorry. Listen, is the conversation concluded? Is he number 2 of all time? Yes, he is. I don't want to hear it from you, Dev. He is number 2 of all time. That is concluded. But look, I know rings are a team sport, but it's about how Michael Jordan did it. It's not about like how many he had. You know, you three-peat, you go retire, you come back and you three-peat again. Damn it! Never allowed a game 7. I was just bringing up my friend yesterday because he doesn't understand basketball, and I was just trying to put in perspective my view of LeBron James. As great as that is, I really look like he's top 5 for me. Like, favorite-wise, he's top 5 of all time. But it's like The Rock and John Cena for wrestling fans. Okay, John Cena has been in the business for like 20 years. He has more like the accolades as far as like, championship wins, WrestleMania appearances, right? And for some people, that is the GOAT. But I look at somebody like The Rock. Didn't have as big of a career, right? But in the short time span that he was there, his peak was just higher than everybody else's, for my opinion. And out of the ring, if I never mentioned The Rock as a wrestler, you wouldn't know who he is because of his movies or whatever the case is. Just like my friend doesn't know anything about basketball, but he got a ton of Jordans in his closet. That's the type of influence Michael Jordan has, the type of impact he's had on the game, on and off the court. There's no comparison yet. Listen, I'll tell you, this is all I need LeBron to do. If you tie Michael Jordan in rings, I will conclude him as the GOAT for sure. But that's what it's going to take because, look, Michael Jordan never had a 2011 NBA Finals. He never had that, okay? But also, LeBron James has had some tough final opponents. I get it, but Michael Jordan was the tough final opponent, okay? So Jordan's still the GOAT, but man, LeBron deserves so much credit. Number 2 of all time. It's concluded. I don't want to hear it. I thought maybe Magic, maybe Kareem. Look, it's LeBron's number 2.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that, right, Gary? I mean, Isaiah makes a few good points, but the biggest point I think he made was towards the end where he says, hey, LeBron goes in and ties at least Michael Jordan when it comes to rings. We can sort of put him closer to the conversation. For you, Gary, is there anything left for LeBron James to do to solidify himself as the GOAT, or is this sort of just the narrative of Michael Jordan is one no matter what in this current day and age? LeBron James is just always going to be number 2 behind him.
Well, I think for some people, LeBron James always will be number 2 behind Michael Jordan. And you could say that LeBron James wins the next 5 championships and people will still go, but Michael Jordan's the best. LeBron James isn't clutch. I really do think that there is more for LeBron to accomplish in terms of collection, like getting those 6 rings, getting the Thanos collection of all the Infinity Stones to finally take down Michael Jordan. But I do think that it really just depends on 1, how old you are, and 2, were you even expecting LeBron to get here? Because people keep putting that pedestal higher and higher and higher and keep raising the bar. And at some point we do have to say, like, give him his roses, give him his props. LeBron James, if you have him top 3, I'd be able to have a conversation with you. Anything outside of that is ridiculous at this point. For me, he's top 2. For me, it's 1A, 1B. And I honestly do think that LeBron James, given another title, maybe 2, can be the greatest basketball player we've ever seen on this planet. And it's not a shock to me that he's done this for this long when he's been consistently this for his whole career. He's got the best in terms of athletic body in the NBA. He spends so much making sure that he's good and he's never injured. And when he is, it's small and he plays through some stuff and he's always consistent. He's always 27 a game. He's always 7 rebounds. He's always 7 assists. And for 19 seasons, he's done this. At some point, one, it's like a Tom Brady effect. When will this end? But also, we have to give props to the longevity as well. I do think that LeBron James is right up there, but it's so hard because it's MJ. He's like this fairy tale creature we're not allowed to say bad things about because he's so good. And I do think that for some people, that fantasy will always be there, and LeBron will never be able to surpass it. It's just, I don't know where you fall on that line, Devin.
Oh man, I already see his face. He's gonna
Isaiah's been looking at my face the whole entire time. As soon as Gary said, as long as you got him in the top 3, we can have a discussion. Well, we can have a discussion because I have him in the top 3. Unfortunately, for me, I still have him number 3 behind MJ. I still have Kareem number 2. And here's why. I think, obviously, I have to rate him off as number 1. When you're talking about Michael Jordan, the main argument that everybody's going to say is 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. He was 6-0 in the finals. To me, he had harder competition. He played with fewer all-star teammates. His path was just harder. Granted, he also played 5 fewer seasons in the NBA, and I think he actually accomplished 5 times as much as LeBron James could ever imagine. And so I'm talking about 1 more MVP. I'm talking about 3 more all-defensive selections. I'm talking about leading the league in scoring, not once, not twice, not 3 times, as LeBron James would like to say, 10 times. MJ led the league in scoring 10 times. He was a killer. That was it. He had the it factor, which is the other reason why everybody writes off LeBron James. Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, same number of seasons, 20 apiece between Kareem and LeBron James. 3 more playoff appearances, 2 more MVPs around the league, 5 more all-defensive team selections. And where people continue to write off LeBron James is things like three-point shooting, things like free throw shooting, things like turnovers as well. I mean, look at what LeBron James has also done in these historic nights as well, right? Because when he joined the Lakers had a series of historic milestones in which they could recognize someone like LeBron James's legacy. When he passed Michael Jordan in the all-time scoring list, the Lakers lost. When he reached 10,000 assists, the Lakers lost. When he passed Karl Malone for scoring, the Lakers lost. When he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the Lakers also lost. Why is it that every time LeBron James is so great, we put him on this big pedestal, the Lakers come up short? It's because everyone around him has to take the back seat to LeBron James. And I said it in our group chat earlier, and I'm going to say it to the public right now. LeBron James cares more about his individual legacy than he does about his team loyalty or his teammate loyalty. I mean, the most turnovers in NBA history, 34% from beyond the arc, 73% from the free throw line. This is the people that some people call the GOAT. This is the same people that want to say LeBron James is number 2. I just can't do it. You're talking about, for me, LeBron James is more in the category with a Kobe or a Magic Johnson, where I have him higher than both of those players. So he is number 3 for me, but I don't think he belongs in that same tier as those top 2 guys, the guys that paved the way. Michael, Jeffrey, Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, those are the top 2 for me. And LeBron James, sorry, buddy, you got to take a back seat to number 3.
Devin, you're going to make me have to redo the podcast intro. What are you doing? You're giving me work. All I see in my future is iMovie editing all of this audio. Oh, man. I mean, like I said, it really just falls. It really depends on where you fall in terms of his.
I think anyone that does have LeBron James as number 2, I think it's fair, it's valid. He's now past Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which is, I think, the reason why many people are probably pushing him from 3 to number 2. But the Lakers are also still 13th in the Western Conference. They're talking about trading Russell Westbrook and first-round picks, plural possibly, for D'Angelo Russell. Isn't that the same guy that used his cell phone to rat out Nick Young? Oh, my goodness. Why are we going back in history? And I want to read just one tweet that LeBron James posted on March 22nd, 2022. I might as well print it out, put it up on as a poster on my bedroom wall like a teenage girl would with Justin Bieber back in the day. LeBron James says, I can/will not miss the postseason again for my career. This, you know what, hurts. Okay, back to watching these games. Guess what, LeBron? He deleted the tweet. It's done. It's over. LeBron James will never be on the Mount Rushmore of players to play for the Los Angeles Lakers. He doesn't have that right.
Okay.
That's fair. Okay,
That
point
part,
is fair.
You closed it real good. You closed it real good.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I don't. When I think LeBron James, other than this, the 2020 title and the shotting over to beating Kareem's record, I'm not going to think about LeBron in a Lakers jersey. I'm going to think about him in a Cavs jersey, probably during that 2016 run, just because it was the best basketball I've seen him play in his career.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people will also take into account the fact that he team jumped, and a lot of these players, like Kareem was on 2 teams, Michael was on 1. These are guys that stuck with their franchises. We don't talk about that. That didn't happen. Just like Dwayne Wade on the Bulls, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, or Hakeem Olajuwon on the Raptors. Things like that never happened. But I do think that people discredit him for team jumping, and that's just another obstacle that he has to overcome. And will he ever be able to silence those people? I really think the bar is set astronomically high.
Have you ever gotten into an argument when one of your friends, you're arguing with somebody and you're both like on the same page, like you both agree, like you have the same idea, but then he brings up a point and you're like, yeah, but no. Like the one thing, my biggest pet peeve when it comes to the Michael Jordan and LeBron James debate is when you talk about, well, Jordan only played 13 seasons. He did it in a short amount of time. Why are we giving Michael Jordan credit for the years that he did not play and not giving LeBron James the credit for the years he has played for 20 straight years? Isn't he going to be the only player to finish with like 30,000 or 40,000 points, 10,000 assists, 10,000 rebounds, the most well-rounded player of all time? And he's done it for such a long period of time, and he's still going to keep doing it. And you bring up the losses. Okay, yeah, LeBron, he stunk it up in 2011. That's, to be honest, I'll be honest. If that never happened and we were where we are today and maybe he won that ring, I might have said today, okay, he has eclipsed Michael Jordan. But that was such a big thing on his resume. I get it. But LeBron, it's not his fault that Michael Jordan retired 2 times. And you know what? We can't ignore his years with the Wizards. We just can't just give him a pass. We can't do it. We cannot do it. Why did you come back? Why did you go? LeBron said he wants to keep playing as long as he feels like he can contribute to a championship scenario. Why did Michael Jordan come back?
Because Looney Tunes was good.
And because I think it was more of like a
because Space Jam was really good.
Yeah, maybe that was it. But why aren't you coming back for a ring? So no, you don't just get a pass for that. He's still the GOAT. But there's some arguments there that just stop it. Like, don't give him credit.
We can't call this guy the most well-rounded player in NBA history if he's shooting 34% from the 3-point line. He's shooting 73%. This is like the intro all over again when Isaiah said if Giannis can develop a 3-point shot, he might go down as the GOAT. It's the same argument. I mean, LeBron James is just
Michael Jordan was a great 3-point shooter. I understand it was a different game, but you can't just give him a pass for that too. Be like,
LeBron was able to develop a shot. I mean, I don't know what he's at right now. I don't have the stats in front of me, but there were years, especially like for the bulk of his prime, he was shooting 38 to 40% from 3. I mean, you could leave him open, which is probably the reason why he shot so much and so high. But I mean, LeBron, I do think well-rounded is the greatest swing that we can say about him. There's not a thing on the NBA court that he doesn't excel at, other than maybe free throw shooting. But that's at that point we're picking nits, and
that's all we're doing. Literally, I mean,
yeah.
But Dev's like, oh man, he can't shoot from the free throw line. He's number 5 all time, basically. Okay,
he said 3. Don't.
Yeah, but he's like, but he did say he's not in that tier though. He's like, there's these two, and then there's LeBron. So Dev, be grateful. He's in the Lakers uniform doing these things for you. Okay, granted, you're not winning it.
I'm real grateful to be 13th.
Have you noticed the pattern?
Conference.
Have you noticed the pattern? Look, he won in Cleveland. He won in Miami. The Lakers, is it a LeBron problem or is it a Laker problem?
Oh, it's a LeBron problem. It's a LeBron problem.
Is it an Anthony Davis problem?
No,
looked like
Anthony
it last
Davis's
night.
problem. He had to take 9 shots last night because LeBron James was too focused on taking 20
Oh
shots.
my goodness!
Everybody gets so starstruck in these bright lights of Los
Please,
Angeles.
the amount of games he
LeBron's
missed,
big night,
9
LeBron's
shots
big
is more
night.
than he took like all last year. So like, stop it. Like,
Oh my goodness.
I just know how to push your buttons.
Oh yeah, you guys do, and that's why I love this show so much. All right, as we push forward over towards some other big news, Brooklyn Nets have traded Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Dorian Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, a 2029 first-round pick, and 2 second-round picks. Gentlemen, Kyrie Irving, he still has the opportunity to sign with any team once he becomes a free agent this summer. It could be a rental trade. The Brooklyn Nets, when this trade happened, are 5th now in the Eastern Conference. The Dallas Mavericks are currently 6th in the Western Conference. Here's the trades that I saw that were reportedly out there at the time when this trade was accepted. The Lakers reportedly offered Russell Westbrook and not 1 but 2 first-round picks for Kyrie Irving. The Suns would have offered Chris Paul, Jay Crowder, and unspecified picks. And the Clippers would have offered Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, a first-round pick, and 2 first-round swaps. And the Dallas Mavericks end up winning the Kyrie Irving sweepstakes. I'm going to start with Gary because Gary had a very opinionated article earlier about Kyrie Irving becoming an all-time liability instead of an asset potentially. So, Gary, what were your thoughts when this trade went down?
My first thought was really just, have we seen a 27 point per game scorer get this little in a trade package? I haven't in my life. And it really just does come down to the fact that Kyrie Irving, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with him or not, is a liability on and off the court. He doesn't play games sometimes because he's resting, and he's always had an injury history. That's not something people aren't used to. But when it comes to him and his outside actions, he's very unreliable. He doesn't show up. He doesn't play games. Every now and then he does stuff off the court that gets him suspended from teams. And at this point, getting Kyrie Irving on your team is like putting all your money on one card in a gambling scenario. You're really, really hoping that it all pays out, because if it doesn't, you look like a fool. He's done this in Boston. He did this in Cleveland. He did this in now Brooklyn. And if this doesn't work out in Dallas, you're going to be a 4th team where Kyrie Irving has done something to get him either suspended or wanting to leave the team, and then having to have him ship off for less than he's worth. That being said, Kyrie Irving is incredibly talented and an absolute offensive dynamite next to Luka Doncic. The fact that Luka has somebody he can pass to actually score the ball now is not only going to help Luka out during the regular season, just giving him some time to rest, but also during the playoffs, because Kyrie Irving is one of the greatest clutch shot makers in the NBA today. So for the Nets, I don't know what they're thinking with getting, Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie are good, but you could have had someone like Chris Paul, not that he's doing great, but I feel more confident about Chris Paul in a playoff scenario than I do someone like Dorian Finney-Smith or Spencer Dinwiddie. So I'm really concerned about the Nets in this trade, losing their 27 point per game scorer, who's actually playing really well this season. And all of a sudden now they got some role players to put around Kevin Durant. KD still needs a co-star. He's not getting far in the East alone. So, and Ben Simmons isn't helping out with that very much. So Isaiah, I ask you, would you have taken one of those other deals? Like I know Devin probably was antsy about the Lakers deal.
Oh yeah.
But if you were Devin, would you be happy if the Lakers got Kyrie for Westbrook and their only 2 first-round picks?
Yeah, because look at what you were getting already. Look, I'm going to bring up LeBron one more time. He deserves a lot of mentions on this show after what he did yesterday, right? Perhaps his greatest accomplishment isn't anything we mentioned, but it's the fact that he was able to condense and control Kyrie Irving to the point where you could win a championship with him. Like, he was that piece, and which is why, man, the Lakers, Oh man, I really feel like if the Lakers were to land Kyrie Irving, I feel like that would have flipped everything for them. And I would have taken it if I was the Nets. I would have taken the Lakers pick because you're talking about 2 first-round picks in the future. The way the Lakers franchise is looking right now, 2027, 2029, like you might be able to get whoever the next Victor Wembanyama is at that time frame. And on the other side, it gives the Lakers a chance to like really compete, like especially if they were going to keep Anthony Davis. Granted, he had 2 question marks on LeBron James, but if they are able to stay healthy at that right time, now we're talking about a finals contender, a team that could win it all. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen now with Devin. I'm sorry. But look, what this really tells me, which I am confused. Like, why did you not take the Lakers offer? If that was indeed a deal that was on the pay, why did you not take that? But that tells me they're going to move on from Kevin Durant. I don't know if it's going to be this week, but I do feel like this is the final year of Kevin Durant in Brooklyn because they really didn't do anything to like stay competitive for a championship like run, in my opinion. I don't know why you would just can it in. Like, I was ready to get on this show a week ago and be like, man, the Nets might finally be able to come, like they might be able to do this. And here we are. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, right? Because even with Kevin Durant out, I don't know if you guys have seen the Brooklyn Nets over the last couple of games. Nick Claxton has emerged as, sort of a stud. And how about Cam Thomas as well? Cam Thomas dropping 40 points on the regular. I saw a meme out there, and it was a picture of Cam Thomas, and he was like, this guy might break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record before LeBron does at this point. So he was dropping a lot of points over the last couple of games. But yeah, so a few things, right? So the title odds for the Mavericks originally at the start of the season, plus 3,300. Now they're plus 1,200 with the addition of Kyrie Irving, who's averaging 27.1 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, 5.3 assists across 40 games with the Brooklyn Nets. Gary said it best. I don't know if I've ever seen a trade for a player of this magnitude for so little. You're talking about 2 role players and a first-round pick and a couple of seconds. That doesn't seem close to balanced whatsoever. I think if you're taking no bias and you're just taking what's behind door 1, 2, and 3, obviously the Lakers offered the most on paper. I think with Russell Westbrook, you could always buy him out. And then you can make some sort of deal where the Lakers have to eat a chunk of his salary. Plus, you're getting 2 first-round picks for a team that's currently 13th in the Western Conference. You never know how things are going to pan out with injuries. LeBron potentially leaving to play with his son in the near future. Those picks in the future could become very, very valuable as well. So here's the thing, and Gary said it best. I always say availability is the most important ability in the NBA, and Kyrie Irving just hasn't been available for the Brooklyn Nets. In a possible of 278 games that he could have played in with the Nets, he's played in 143. 143 out of 278. That's just over 50%, that 50% mark. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this trade sort of works out. I don't think the Dallas Mavericks with this trade are the favorites to represent the Western Conference. I don't know if you guys feel differently, but it's going to be interesting because what happens if Kyrie Irving just picks up and leaves this summer and all of a sudden you just traded one of your first-round picks, a couple of seconds, and some really important role players as well. You sort of just shot yourself in the foot for a 1-year chance at some sort of like miracle run with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. I just don't see it.
I mean, it really depends on if they can sign him again this year.
Yeah, you guys saw too the interview, his press conference, and they asked him about sort of his desire to play with LeBron, and instead of saying like a very political answer of no, I'm like focused here, I want to win here, I'm committed here, he sort of just talked about what could have been or what should have been were the words that he used, the phrases he used. He very clearly wanted to go to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers very clearly wanted Kyrie Irving and LeBron James reunited. But everything that I have read have basically said the Brooklyn Nets front office was willing to trade with anybody aside from the Los Angeles Lakers because they knew that's where Kyrie wanted to go. And I guess they felt slated by him.
It's the same thing with Sabonis getting traded to the what was the Paul George trade, the original Paul George trade from the Indiana Pacers to the Oklahoma City Thunder. The guy was like, "Oh, I'm not trading to anybody over there." I'm not trading any of the top dogs in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference. We're trading them to someone like it wasn't trading anybody in the East because they're the Indiana Pacers.
Right.
It's petty stuff like this that makes GMs make bad decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I understand your pride, and I understand, like, oh, we don't want the Lakers to win because they're the Lakers. But if you're thinking that and then you're getting a worse deal out of it because of it, are you really winning that? Are you really going to have a gotcha moment? Are you really like, oh, I can bring this home to the fan base? It's
and I don't even know if
shooting
it was
yourself in the foot.
And I don't even know if it was a Lakers thing. I think it was just a Kyrie thing. They knew Kyrie wanted to go to LA to be with the Lakers and LeBron James. And so I think it could have been any team, right? So if Kyrie says he wants to go team up with Tyrese Halliburton and the Indiana Pacers and that he makes that stance sort of known, I think he would have traded him to the Los Angeles Lakers at that point. You shouldn't use reverse psychology at that point, Kyrie. What are you doing?
Yeah, come on, Kyrie. What are you doing?
Oh, man.
I want to say this, though. Look, I don't know if they're going to be my favorites. You know who my favorites are. I called it early on. Did I not say the Denver Nuggets?
Yeah, the
I'm
Nuggets.
do it, and they're looking good. Are they not? Anyway, look. Am I going to make it 4 in a row? Anyway, besides the point. Look. We got a comment, by the way. The GOAT in the NBA is Tom Brady or The Rock. That's one of my friends. He does not understand NBA, so I appreciate you checking in. Anyway, I'll tell you what, though. If it comes down to a fourth quarter, where like a series is on the line with the Mavericks and any team in the NBA, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic in the fourth quarter on the same page, a motivated Kyrie, they could be anybody in this league. Let me just say that. Okay, like
offensively,
I mean, it doesn't matter what you do after that.
No, defensively, they have the repertoire of a barn door. It's not, or like saloon doors. They're like one of.
Maybe they could get Tony Allen to come out of retirement. That'd be good.
There you go. Maybe we can get Michael Cooper back in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, Andre Robertson. I see that he's playing professional again.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's continue to fly through here. So let's talk about Kevin Durant really quickly. We mentioned him earlier in the podcast. Phoenix Suns open to pursuing Kevin Durant at the trade deadline. The Brooklyn Nets are willing to also listen to offers for Kevin Durant. It sort of sounds like Isaiah mentioned it earlier, where maybe it might not happen at the trade deadline. It might happen, in the offseason. So, Isaiah, sort of tell me your thoughts. If the Brooklyn Nets do trade Kevin Durant, do you have sort of a suitor in mind, or do you think it's just going to happen in the offseason to the highest bidder?
You just got to go for the highest bidder. Like, this is going to be one of the most important trades of Sean Marks' career, because you cannot – I mean, everybody wants him fired for bringing in Kyrie, Harden, and Kevin Durant. Let's not go there. I mean, look, he did everything he could to put together a winning franchise. Unfortunately, he put the wrong people not outside of Kevin Durant, and it just hasn't worked out. You got to go with the highest bidder. This is literally your future right here. So there's no need to rush it to trade him before Thursday if you can't find a great deal. You have him locked in for a couple of years. Kevin Durant is going to have high trade value no matter what. But I will say, if you could get superstar Jaylen Brown in the Brooklyn Nets uniform, damn it, you do it. You trade Kevin Durant and get Jaylen Brown. Oh, look at this. See, I'm not alone.
There you go.
All right, Nicholas. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. That is my best friend, former roommate.
Nice. We got our best friend.
We got all our friends here. I would like to propose a trade for Kevin Durant to someone who has a massive load of hauls of trade value, giant amount of picks, just 13 first-round picks in the next, I think, 4 years. The New Orleans Pelicans have Brandon Ingram under contract and could potentially move him and some pieces and some picks for one Kevin Durant, which would be a fantastic pairing next to Zion Williamson. I love the Jaylen Brown idea, especially for the Boston Celtics, but I do think that in terms of trade value and the amount of picks that the New Orleans Pelicans could accumulate to give to the Brooklyn Nets, it's got to be a Brandon Ingram package with like 4 first-round picks. Because at this point, Rudy Gobert has pretty much destroyed our trade market with his absurd, stupid Walker Kessler's better than Rudy Gobert this season trade. And now we have Minnesota Timberwolves are trying to get rid of their starting point guard not 4 months after they made a blockbuster pay trade for 5 first-round picks. At this point, one, that's a whole other discussion that the Minnesota Timberwolves totally botched that. But that trade made this landscape for trades so much more expensive.
Yeah.
And that's the only one I can see Sean Marks being able to actually go to his owner, Josiah, and go, this is enough, and this is the best thing we're getting.
Yeah.
You know
Remember?
what?
Yeah, go ahead, Ez.
Maybe it was an inside job. Like, look with the Kyrie trade. Like, look, let's reset the market a little bit. Like, bring it down so I got something to work with. I don't have to trade away my future for a superstar again. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Remember, like way back when we were talking, when that trade for Rudy Gobert went down, we were like, so what happens now? I mean, Kevin Durant not recently, but back in last July, Kevin Durant was requesting a trade from the Brooklyn Nets, and then the Rudy Gobert trade happens, and it's like, what do you do at that point? Like, you can't give up much more than what you got for Rudy Gobert. So how much more can you really give up? So Kevin Durant, the two suitors that previously played for Kevin Durant, remember way back when the Phoenix Suns, who I mentioned before, and then the Miami Heat for Gary emerged like very early on when he previously requested a trade. So now you sort of see the problem where Nick Claxton becomes this sort of emerging role player / starter for the Brooklyn Nets. That erases the need for a guy like DeAndre Ayton and the Phoenix Suns. So now the Suns are out of the equation, in my opinion. And now you're talking about Cam Thomas, who apparently is the next coming of maybe Michael Jordan. I have no idea what's happening with this man. Just absolute electricity all over the place. But that erases the need for someone like a Tyler Hero, who they previously requested as part of a trade package with the Miami Heat. So now the Miami Heat, in my opinion, are out of the equation as well. So now we're talking about the Boston Celtics with Jaylen Brown. But if you're trading for Jaylen Brown, what does that say about the future of your team? Is that a team that wants to win now? Is that a team that wants to win next year? It just feels like you're like trading for someone worse than Kevin Durant. There must be a whole lot of picks attached to that deal. It just has to be, because Kevin Durant is astronomically better than Jaylen Brown, and it's not even close. And then I think, and I'm just saying this, just spitballing out here, if you're the Brooklyn Nets, you need to find out who has that number 1 pick in the offseason, because Victor Wembanyama, whatever, how you pronounce his name, he is coming to the league, and he is probably one of the most hyped prospects I have seen on social media over the last several years. You need to find out who has that number 1 pick when the time comes, and you offer Kevin Durant for that number 1 pick and put in a whole lot of extra value next to that number 1 pick. And I think we're talking about somewhat of a fair deal. That would be my opinion.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, that would probably be the most liked tweet ever. Shams Charania on draft night. Victor Wembanyama, number 1, traded for Kevin Durant.
That would be awesome.
I mean, but Victor Wembanyama would be the star in that trade. That's all I'm going to say. But listen, Jaylen, I just got a really quick comment. Jaylen Superstar Brown, if you acquire that man onto the Brooklyn Nets with some draft picks next to Ben Simmons, then you're going to officially see the experiment. From the first day I was on this show, we were talking, I said, Ben Simmons could make any team a playoff team. Remember I said that? Next to Jaylen Brown, the superstar Jaylen Brown, we are going to see don't make the 8th team be a first round exit. But nevertheless, let's do it. Let's do it for experiment purposes.
Ben Simmons is probably the worst contract in the league at this point.
Okay,
but that's another story for another day.
Listen, I wouldn't say that take again, but I'm sticking
from inside the arc.
I'm sticking to the Ben Simmons that was once Ben Simmons that I knew. That guy, he can make any team a playoff team. But I don't know where he went. He's missing. He's gone.
Yeah,
I don't know. Find that now.
Isaiah, I'll tell you this. The last report that I read about Ben Simmons was the headline was Ben Simmons has virtually zero trade value around the entire NBA. Imagine that. Ben Simmons, at one point in time, you were saying can make any team a playoff team, and now he's just absolutely disrespected by the media, and probably for fair reason as well. We've got just two more topics, and then our NBA All-Star Draft. We'll make these last two pretty quick because they were sort of minor news. We went over the major headlines. I want to hear from Gary about this because the San Antonio Spurs traded Dwayne Dedmon and a 2028 second-round pick to the Miami Heat just for cash considerations. And it sounded like that this move was allowing the Miami Heat to open up a roster spot, which allowed for Jamari Bouya, who was signed by the Miami Heat to a 10-day contract. So, Gary, tell me a little bit about this deal because Dedmon, slow season, small season, averaging 5.7 points per game across 30 games. So tell me about this.
Dwayne Dedmon was a really good backup for the Miami Heat last year, and he has been anything but that this season. Veteran, really good guy, like the mechanic, as a lot of Miami Heat fans started to call him. But Dwayne Dedmon really not making an impact for the Miami Heat this season. Like you said, 5.7 points a game. He's looked a step slow. His defense isn't there. He's not shooting as well as he used to. And honestly, this is just roster space for whatever they decide to do during the trade deadline, possibly moving Kyle Lowry. I really like the Booyah kid. I've been following him, his G League, summer league to G League to now getting a 10-day. Really good defensive point guard, kind of that Miami Heat mold, really good energy off the bench. But this is just another one of those things that opens up roster space. And shout out to the Spurs for getting Dwayne Dedmon back.
There you go. And then flying into the next one is I want to ask you about this headline because this is more of a rumor than an actual report. OG Anunoby from the Toronto Raptors. Definitely butchered that last one. How do you pronounce his last name?
Anunoby.
There you go.
OG Anunoby, right?
There you go.
Anunoby. Toronto Raptors OG Anunoby is being monitored by teams ahead of the trade deadline. It sounds like the Toronto Raptors getting real close to blowing up the whole entire roster. They're 11th in the Eastern Conference. They're only a half game back from the play-in tournament, so there was speculation that they might have been looking for a trade package for Jakob Poeltl from the San Antonio Spurs. But sounding like it's close. How do you pronounce that one? Did I pronounce
Jakob Poeltl?
Jakob Poeltl. OG Anunoby.
You would have had me too.
Pronounce it. A lot of hard names tonight.
Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I know.
We're out here.
Not looking good. Isaiah, there's speculation that at least 6 or 7 teams could be interested in making an offer ahead of Thursday. I want to ask you this question because I read a report today. The Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and your New York Knicks are among the teams rumored to be having a willingness to offer not 1, but 2 first-round picks. No.
We have enough of these guys. We have enough. OG Anunoby, right? He's a very good player.
I told you it's a hard name to pronounce.
Yeah, it is. He's a very good player. Look, but he's a good player in the same way that Julius Randle is a good player, in the same way that Jalen Brunson is a good player. He's not going to really do much for us. Look, the Raptors are having a hard time right now. Let me tell you why. You know why they're having a hard time? It's not OG Anunoby. Sorry, you thought I was going to say that, right? But I'm not. No, what I'm going to say is they have too many pieces that are basically the same tier, and you don't know how to really just put these parts together. Now, could Tibbs do something with that? Maybe. But look, if you get OG Anunoby, okay, you want to know the real issue? RJ Barrett would become the 4th option on this offense, and I just can't think it anymore. Look at why he's so inconsistent, man. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Real quick, we got some comments too. There's some stuff going on. So look, we got Gary front row to NBA game. Isaiah's outside the stadium, and Devin is in his hallway. Why did we not pay for his ticket? You got Nick over there.
Inflation, bro. It really got me. I can only afford 1 courtside seat.
You got Nick talking about pronunciation classes for Dev. you got Taylor. Do you think we should risk it and keep Wood or trade him and get a player in exchange?
Ooh, what happened with Brunson? I assume, is that in reference to Christian Wood for the Dallas Mavericks? I would keep Christian Wood. Wood, he's been injured for a stretch of this season, but I really like what he's done. He's actually had borderline an all-star caliber season. It's just a shame that he's missed a few games, especially recently. He just came back from injury about a week ago, maybe less than a week ago. So I personally would keep Christian Wood. If you're going for an NBA title this season for the Dallas Mavericks, you need Christian Wood to be that 3rd part of the big 3 with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. There's no other substitution.
my first reaction in the chat, I said, now we just need Christian Wood to be Christian good, and the Mavericks really have something. Okay. So back to OG Anunoby. Not for my Knicks, but is he worth 2 first-round picks? Maybe, but not in a Knicks situation. He has to be your third option, and you have to have a superstar leading the way. So it can't be the Knicks. No.
OG's the missing puzzle piece for a championship contender. He's not the guy to get you from a 10th seed to a 7th seed. That's not what you would pay for him for. For the Grizzlies, yes. The Grizzlies is someone I would see getting OG Anunoby. You mentioned the Dallas Mavericks. That would be someone that would be really good for them, but I don't see them getting him now that they've given up what they had for Luka. So, I really think the Grizzlies are probably the main destination I'd see him going to.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we hit 45 minutes on the mark, and now it's time. If we had any music, I would ask us to cue it. Isaiah, I don't know if we do. I know we have a wheel. So let's go over the rules of our NBA All-Star Draft. It's Team Isaiah versus Team Gary for the second straight year. I'm commentating. I'm speculating. I'm providing the color commentary to what these two guys have. So this is how it's going to run. Snake draft style. So we're going to spin a wheel. If Isaiah ends up with the number 1 pick, Gary's going to then end up with pick number 2 and pick number 3 before swinging it back to Isaiah, who had 4 and 5. And then we go on and so forth from that order. We have to draft all the revealed starters in part 1 of this draft. This draft is going to be in 3 different parts. So part 1 is just going to be the revealed all-star starters. In part 2, we have to draft all of the reserves, not replacements, not wild cards, not leftover starters, just the reserves, which I have the list of players available. I know these guys probably do as well. And then from that point, each of you were going to be allowed to have 1 wild card pick, a potential snub, somebody that didn't make it, one of your favorite players in the league, just somebody to cap off one of your guys that you want on this team riding as the extra man on your all-star roster. Do you have any questions before we spin this wheel?
I'm a veteran at this point.
Just for Gary. Are you ready to get smoked? No, I'm joking.
You ready to get smoked?
All right, so Isaiah, whenever you're ready, we're going to spin that wheel.
Okay, let's do it. Got some music too. Let me see. I don't want it to be too loud. Let me know how this sounds. Okay. All right. Okay. Spin. Who's gonna get the first pick? Who wants the first pick? Do you want the second and third?
I want the first pick.
Do you want the first pick?
Yeah. Oh,
actually,
Oh, they're gonna say it's rigged.
All right. So Isaiah ends up with the number 1 pick. And Isaiah, before we jump into who you want to select with the number 1 pick, let's just go over the starters. It can be Eastern, it can be Western, your choice. It has Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kyrie Irving technically, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant. We're going to assume Kevin Durant is healthy even though he's already been ruled out. We can draft LeBron James, Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, Nikola Jokic, or Zion Williamson. This is a star-studded lineup. Who are you going with the number 1 pick in the All-Star draft?
All this talk about LeBron James all day. You're
not going to do it.
I want to, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with the same man that I've been talking about for the first episode of this show. It's going to start and it's going to end with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I got his name right. Come on. He's going to do everything.
Bro. You've been practicing.
Giannis Antetokounmpo goes to Team Isaiah with the number 1 overall pick. Gary, is that what you were expecting? Were you expecting Giannis to go number 1? I mean, the man talked about Giannis potentially being the greatest or one of the greatest of all time in the intro. You got to assume it was probably coming, right?
He was number 1 on my board too. Don't worry. I was also on the Giannis train. But for my first overall pick, the second pick of this draft, I will be going with a very young selection, a very topical selection. Someone who was just recently given a new partner. I will be going with one Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic.
Okay.
All right, that's not a bad pick. I was surprised by that pick, but once again, this is a star-studded lineup. I don't think there was a wrong pick. You could have gone with number 2, and the benefit of going number 2 is that, guess what, Gary? You also get to go number 3.
Oh, yes, I do. I do get to go number 3. And it's so cool that we do this draft live because the pen that I was going to use for selecting and marking out all of my people all of a sudden decided to stop working.
Oh, gosh.
So I got a backup, and we are rolling. I will be taking with my number 2 selection. Sadly, he will not be playing in the All-Star game, but I will be taking Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant. Wow. I mean, I saw that. I probably would have also gone Kevin Durant as one of those 2 picks. It leaves a big opening for Isaiah, potentially if he wanted LeBron James with one of his next 2 picks. But you also have, fantastic names. Kyrie still out there. Steph Curry, one of the greatest point guards, as Isaiah would say, potentially the greatest point guard of all time, as he would know. You got Jokic, the triple-double machine. Zion Williamson, one of the most electric players. You got Tatum, a front runner for the MVP. Donovan Mitchell having a great season. Isaiah, take it away.
I feel like you're exposing me with this draft in a way because, like, the guys that I talk about most, like Steph Curry, greatest three-point shooter of all time. Top 10 already, Devin. He was top 10. He's top 8 maybe. Okay. Higher than Kevin Durant on the all-time list. I just want to poke at you a little bit.
Oh gosh.
But I gotta take LeBron James. I gotta take LeBron James. He deserves to be taken. It would be disrespectful if he fell any further down this draft. And hello, he's undefeated ever since we introduced his entire NBA captains thing. He's undefeated. So I guaranteed myself a win there.
Yeah.
And I'm at a crossroads now. Okay.
I imagine you being between two to three guys right here.
Yeah. I'm going to do this for my friend David. He's in our fantasy sports league. Nikola Jokic. Okay, I'm going to take all the big men. Gary, you're not going to have any size on your team. Okay. I'm going with Nikolai. I don't really have to say much. Back-to-back MVP winner. He's going to win the NBA Finals this year. Potentially the NBA, All-Star MVP. We'll see. I don't know, man. It's not really a center-man game. But there you go. That's my pick.
Not bad. Right. You start off with both captains of the NBA All-Star, teams, and then you also get triple-double machine in Jokic as well. But we got Gary with 2 picks coming up. Already has Luka Doncic and Kevin Durant. Door wide open for a couple, stud names. Gary, what direction are we going?
Oh, I have 2 wonderful players that I will be selecting next. Both probably play the same position, but at this point, I think I need some size to match up with Isaiah here. So for my first selection, I will be taking Jason Tatum.
All right, good pick. I like that. Front runner for the MVP so far.
Oh, yeah. And for my next pick, I will be taking none other than one Stephen Curry. I know I just said size, but what better size than 3-point range? I kind of switched it up last second there because I realized that if I left him Curry, I gave him everybody. So I'm going to be taking Stephen Curry after Jason Tatum.
Gary, when you said that you're going to take 2 guys that play the same position, I could have sworn you were taking Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving or something like that.
You know what? That would have been a good point. That was good. Literally, and this is a work in process, folks. I wasn't prepared to not have a center to select. So I was looking down and I was like, oh, I'll take Jason Tatum and then I'll take my next guy. And then I went, oh, that's the greatest 3-point shooter of all time that I'm leaving off the board to take some guy. So I'm gonna go with Steph Curry and Jason Tatum, and I like my team so far.
There you go. Well, Isaiah, you get 2 more picks, and then remember, whoever you don't take is going to end up as the final member of Gary's team to round out the starters of part 1. So you got 2 picks coming up.
Oh, man, I hate the way you said it because the guy I'm going to leave off doesn't deserve to be the last pick. This is not Andrew Wiggins, okay? But first of all, what did I say earlier about Kyrie? The only man that's able to keep him motivated and maybe win a championship with him is none other than LeBron James, okay? And he's going to have a chance to team with LeBron. He's going to have a chance to dance on Steph Curry again like he did in the NBA Finals. Curry's still greater, but anyway, this is my team. I got to stand up for my guys. Kyrie Irving. I can't take Zion. I can't have like LeBron at shooting guard, right? In fact, I'm surprised that Gary didn't take Zion first. Gotta let this guy. So I'm gonna give him a gift here. I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell. Deserved it. Cleveland boy too. So it all connects.
Very nice. Gary, how you feeling with Zion Williamson as the final member of your team?
We're in a small ball era here, folks. I will be running Zion at my 5. I will be having him go against one Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic, but one thing that they don't have is youthful exuberance, which I'm banking on with Zion, even though he probably won't play in the All-Star game. This is fantasy. This is all made up.
Yeah, this is right. Yeah, so just to go over, part 1 is concluded. Team Isaiah ends up with Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Kyrie Irving, and Donovan Mitchell as his starting 5. Gary, on the other hand, ends up with Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, and Zion Williamson as we move over into part 2. This is going to be all the reserves. So on the east side, you have your choice between Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Bam Adebayo, Julius Randle, DeMar DeRozan, Drew Holiday, and Tyrese Halliburton. And then on the west, you have Ja Morant, SGA, Damian Lillard, Jaren Jackson Jr., Domantas Sabonis, Lauri Markkanen, and Paul George rounds it out. So Gary, you get the first pick right here among the reserves. Who are you going with? Who's the clear-cut number 1?
Oh, then there's a clear-cut number 1 because
you
just said it. There's a man who was disrespected this year by not getting to be a starter in this All-Star game. That is my man from Cameroon, Joel Embiid. 2 eyes because 1 wasn't enough. Joel Embiid. I'm going with him as my 6th man in this All-Star game.
See, I thought he was going to go with the homer pick because I was like, if you do it, I'll do it. But I was hoping you would. But I'm not going to. I'm not going to go that route yet. Okay.
That'd have been good. That'd have been content.
Yeah, it would have been. But it's not winning. Man. So Gary countered my his big man issue with Joel Embiid. I don't think I'm making a reach here. I'm going with the man that can shoot from the logo as well. Same time, Damian Lillard. He's going to be coming off the bench. Yeah.
Okay.
I had him pretty high too, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
He was ranked 3rd on my little list here for my reserves.
So Isaiah, you're missing one player out of his top 3 for reserves. You're gonna snag it from him, or you
probably
direction?
Oh, I'm still up, right? Okay.
Oh yeah, you're up, bro. You probably got this from me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was ready for what he's gonna take next. You know what? This man does deserve respect too. In a way, it's like he's almost forgotten about because of the team he's playing on this year, but he's still doing great things. DeMar DeRozan. I'm picking DeMar. Bring him aboard.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought, that's interesting.
Right. So
I just saw one guy's name. I hope you don't take him, Gary.
Before I pick this next pick, who I'm assuming is what Isaiah is talking about. About 3 years ago, during this man's rookie season, I asked my girlfriend one day while she was looking on this website. She had a gift card that I got her, and she was like, "Hey, I have like $8 left. Do you want something?" And I saw deep down in the search bar, I looked up NBA, and whose name did I see pop up but one Ja Morant, who I've had a t-shirt of since this day. It is in my closet, folded very nicely. I'm going with Ja Morant right after Joel Embiid, and if I recall correctly, I get one more pick here.
You do.
And I think it just makes sense. It's full circle. He's my guy. I need a great defender to match up with those big men on the front court that he has. I'm going with Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is my next pick. So I countered your big men with some more big men, my friend.
No. What you really did was you set up me to pick my homer pick. That's what you did. I'm gonna do it. And you know what? You have your friend. Where's he at? He said, "Bring out the homer picks. Let's do it." I'm gonna go with Julius Randle. Not saying he deserves it over most of these guys. Like me and him. We have problems. We have like an unhealthy relationship. But at the end of the day, he's my guy. He's what I got right now. Unlike Devin, I'm not gonna throw my guy under the bus when LeBron. I'm gonna stand up for him, right? So it is gonna be Julius Randle. And now let me make a good pick.
Now let me make a good pick.
Oh man. I'm tempted to go with drop that up. I hope he's there. Let's bring this man some respect too. He's been doing this for a while. Paul George. Let's bring Paul George out.
Ooh, Paul George.
He's healthy. He's still one of the greatest players in the league. And, he's disrespected just way too much.
All right. Not bad. So, Gary, just to recap, still out there, Jaylen Brown, Drew Holiday, Tyrese Halliburton from the East, SGA, Jaren Jackson Jr., Domantas Sabonis, and Lauri Markkanen from the West. Who are you going with?
So my next selection will be I've actually haven't strayed from my list at all. Not gonna lie, Isaiah, that the Jamar PG Randall picks were a little lower on my board, but I will be selecting. I believe this is his first All-Star game. Actually, really showing out this season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I will be selecting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
I need some point guard, a big point guard with some size next to John Morant.
I thought that was a true snub.
Speaking of duos, speaking of people that I can partner next to people that I know will play really well off of a MVP candidate, I will be selecting Jaylen Brown in a shocking twist of the narrative.
I can't believe you did that.
Jaylen Brown and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are my two picks right there.
Okay. I'm kind of upset you said Jaylen. Kind of upset.
Oh, yeah, I know you are. That's why I took him. I wanted to piss you off. Because I don't get to select the one I want to pick.
Okay, good. You shouldn't. So, I'm sorry, who did you just take? You took Jaylen and who?
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to counter your young point guard with one young point guard on my own. He's ascending, and I think he's a real player. I wish he was a Knick. I'm going to go with Tyrese Halliburton, man. He deserves a spot on this team. Like, I'm not going to lie. I feel like I'm taking more of the gritty guys. I know how these votes going to go, but you know what? Put us in 2K, right? Yeah, no. We got Shai. There's one man that really deserves a spot on my team. There's one man that really deserves a spot on my team. But I'm not going to take him. I'm going to take the guy. You see, I'm not going to say you doubted Jaylen Brown.
God damn it. Oh, man.
You doubted him. But you certainly doubted this guy. Okay? And I had to stick up for him. Okay? Mr. Domantas Sabonis. Okay? He is on the team. Yeah. Yeah, let's bring it. I know he's not a top pick.
I really wanted Sabonis. And mainly just to, go full circle. You know what I mean? Like, gotta give him some props. He's actually killing it this year. The Kings looking really good. Light the beam, which my team will be doing after we win the All-Star game, because my next pick.
So Gary, remember too, you get two picks right here. Whatever one you don't take ends up on Isaiah's team. So you get two out of 2 guys.
Predict.
So I'm looking at my team and I see a lot of scoring. And I see a lot of guys who, on my offensive end, on my starting lineup are great, but on my defensive end, I'm mainly defense. And so I want to give props to a guy who's done some amazing things this year after being doubted his last season, and then just kind of after a trade popped off in Utah where the All-Star draft will be taking place. I will be selecting Lauri Markkanen with my first pick. The finisher.
I mean, come on.
All right.
Surely, I know who you're going to take next, right?
And then it wouldn't be complete. And Nick Berardi in this chat will know what I'm talking about when I say this man has come up clutch for me in every 2K season I've ever played. He's always available in the second round after I select a superstar in the first. I will be taking the defensive-minded point guard Drew Holiday with my final selection of this draft, leaving one player for Isaiah, whose name all starts with the same letter.
Jaren Jackson Jr., Isaiah, how you feel to have him round out your lineup?
I'm surprised. I thought he was going to take Jackson. I mean, Drew's not like an exciting player for most, but obviously the defensive ability that he brings, like you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good about my team, though. Overall, my team's got size. We got shooting. I think we would win this game.
All right. To recap part 2, Team Isaiah has Giannis Antetokounmpo, LeBron James, Nikola Jokic, Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell as the starting 5. On his bench, he's going to have Damian Lillard, DeMar DeRozan, Julius Randle, Paul George, Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis, and Jaren Jackson Jr. And then we hop over to Team Gary, his starting 5, Luka Doncic, Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Steph Curry, Zion Williamson, and on his bench as the reserves, Joel Embiid, John Morant, Bam Adebayo, SGA, Jaylen Brown, Lauri Markkanen, and Drew Holiday, which means we have 2 parts down, 1 part to go, which is the wild card selections, and Isaiah would get the number 1 pick in this case, where you can select any one player in the NBA who was not selected as either an all-star starter or a reserve, just any player that you believe was snubbed from the all-star game. So Isaiah, I will give the floor to you for this final part.
Okay. I'm hearing that the music is loud. 1 second. I got the producers in my ear. I hate this spot that I'm in because now I got to make a smart pick. The one thing that Gary has on his team is shooting. And I have shooting too, but maybe not enough. I need another guy that I could just give the ball and he's just going to shoot it from half court and it's going to go in. Mr. Ice Trey himself, the guy that
Trae Young.
I'm tempted to go Anthony Davis, but you know what? He hasn't played. He doesn't, Kyrie Irving. Good God. You know who. I don't even want to say his name again. Okay.
The New York Knicks fan picking Trae Young, a bigger plot twist than the new M. Night Shyamalan movie, who does not sponsor this podcast. I mean, deserved. He's 28 a game. I mean, it's Trae Young. He's actually killing it. His team just isn't really really doing so well this year. Devin is the GOAT. Whoever just put that in, I'm about it. I'm loving the comments today. We're back full force. We're getting some interactions. And speaking of people who probably need a little bit more love, probably need a little bit more of a respect around here, to quote Rodney Dangerfield, this man was 1 shot away from making the NBA Finals last year. He is the only reason why the Los Angeles Lakers in the bubble were given a beating. And he is, quite honestly, my favorite basketball player to wear the Heat uniform in the last 5 years. I will be selecting none other than Jimmy G. Buckets, Jimmy Butler. I'm showing my, my bias here, but tell me that Jimmy Butler doesn't deserve an All-Star nod. Yes, no. Does he play in the All-Star games? No. Was he injured a lot this season and didn't play? Yes. But Jimmy Butler is the only player in the league where you could say that he might not have that great of a regular season, but give me 4 other players that are better than Jimmy Butler in the playoffs, and I don't think you can name them. Yeah. Jimmy Butler is a killer. He is a defensive-minded first player, which makes the Heat culture even better. And I have Bam and Jimmy on my team. I'm happy tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking at a list of from SB Nation as well of players that could have potentially, double snubbed. I mean, I'm looking at a list right now of players that potentially were snubbed. Pascal Siakam was the number 1 ranked snub by this website. Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, who's missed some time, James Harden having a down year, Anthony Edwards, De'Aaron Fox on the double snub, and then I can't believe Isaiah, fake Nick fan Hansen, decided to take Trae Young over his Hoper boy Jalen Brunson. I just can't believe it.
No.
Can't believe it.
No. Since we've got him, it was never his fault. I'm so sorry, Brunson, if you're watching. It's nothing to do with you, man. It's about my Knicks. How we brought you in, how we, it's not your fault. But damn, I need to see more before. Like I'd probably put in RJ Barrett before Brunson, man.
What?
There's no love. There's no love.
What?
There's no love. Okay.
There really is no.
There's
love.
almost like an
Eminem and Lil Wayne song. You're out here just.
Let us get to the first round of the playoffs. Let them show off. Let us get swept or whatever. But as long as we get to the playoffs, let's do it. Then you'll see.
Realistic.
I'm gonna get a Brunson jersey.
Yeah. Well, listen, fellas. That was episode 30. D from 3 with Devin Withers, Isaiah Hansen, and Gary Sunnyberger. We'll be sure to be planning out the next episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, with engaging with us. We appreciate all the support. If you want to check out more content, I released an NBA trade deadline tracker earlier today. Gary released an opinionated piece with the Athletes Hub about Kyrie Irving and the status of him being an all-time liability potentially. Isaiah has come out with great content in the past, and obviously will have great content in the future as well. Has been part of multiple podcast shows, not just here, but relating to baseball, relating to fantasy basketball as well. So be on the lookout for that. You can check out all of our content at theathleteshub.org. Follow us on social media as well at Athletes Hub on Twitter, and then the Athletes Hub on Facebook as well. So with that being said, we'll see you guys for the next episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Real quick, shout out to everybody that came in too. I just want to say I got another life, a wrestling life in KQ. We got something coming. I just had to say that. All right, but that's all I gotta say. Take it, guys.
Perfect.
Peace out.
The Book of KQ on YouTube.